We all know the best towers of each Roblox tower defense game, War Machine for TDS, Recon Base for Tower Blitz, and Golden Commander for tower battles, and so forth. But what about the coolest towers that actually innovate and give tower defense games their charm? For this video, I'll be checking out some of the main tower defense games to highlight those with towers that seem pretty cool. Let's start with tower battles. Honestly, there was not a lot to think about. Zed instantly comes to mind. It's a minigun on wheels. Like, come on, what's not to like? From being able to make a Z train to just overall being a cool tower with cool additions to each level, it just feels like a fun tower to use. Albeit that this tower lacks remodeled skins to make it even better, it's still one of the most iconic towers of tower battles, with it even having its own toy. Other than that, I also have to mention Graveyard. Most spawner towers tend to have long range spawns, but Graveyard really innovated on this and made it purely melee, with Lego like spawn skeletons, to ghosts, and then finally expired Jack, an Easter egg of sorts to the 2017 event boss, though with only a third of the HP sadly. This tower is insanely fun, with it being a tower you can place early and it's still being useful late game too, which is pretty rare to see. Other than that, I'd have to give honorable mentions to Barracks and Phaser. Next, Tower Blitz. Surveyor has to be one of them. Who does not love having one of their drones in the air, making the game unplayable if you are on mobile? Nah, just kidding. Chapter 4 though is... The paths are both creative, especially the top path, that features a radar drone and increases damage around it, as well as ice drones, because you know, why not? It's quite nice. Anyway, it also recently got a skin that makes it even cooler than before. Some say the skin looks like the Fortnite skin of The Rock, but it kinda looks like the Lego Spaceman to me. But hey, what do you think? Maybe not the most original, as Bloons TD has a similar Euro, but overall, a neat tower despite that. As you might have guessed, Recon Base is also a must. Who does not love a spaceship that has a massive laser beam attached to it? Both paths are fun to use, featuring various forms ranging from operative squad bikes, rocket trucks, to sci-fi tanks. I think any player can agree on how cool it is once you unlock it. It also has many skins that alter the spawns a lot. Other than that, I'd also mention Light Beamer, with its interesting upgrades that you don't really see a lot. Next up, Tower Defense Simulator. You might think of Engineer first, but for me, Toxic Gunner comes to mind. This tower just looks really cool with its sci-fi vibe. Sound effects are pretty satisfying, and the slowdown feature makes it somewhat viable. I really love the neon green, and overall, I just find it to be quite cool. Next, I'd also have to say Accelerator, though it does not have any special features. Instead of having a straight laser like Phaser in tower battles, it has a lightning-like effect that really brings out the coolness factor for me. The suit Accelerator wears is also a definite bonus, especially when you get it maxed. Personally, I found the engineer concept kinda boring, as it's been repeated several times in various games, and it doesn't really do anything original for what it is. Sure, it does a ton of damage, but since it is about coolness, I just can't add it. As for other towers, I'd also mention Hunter, Executioner, and Elf Base. Next, Anime Adventures. There's too many. Double it and give it to the next person. Lastly, Critical Tower Defense. Instantly, Phantom comes to mind. A type of tower I've never seen before. It's a tower that you place on the road and it does melee damage till its HP hits 0. And then after a few seconds, it goes back to full HP. To reposition it, you simply sell it and replace it as it keeps its current level permanently. The upgrades even encourage you to sell it constantly with a damage boost for a few seconds after placing it. As for other towers, I've not committed that much time, but I'd say Soulmaster is pretty cool, as it has an orb that rotates, and as you upgrade you get more orbs as it eliminates enemies as well as spawning souls on the road. As you might have noticed, I'm quite a fan of spawn towers, but overall, they just tend to be the cooler towers. Or is it just me? Consider subscribing, you've gotten this far, so hey, why not?